Hello, this is wmpyr. Today I have like a little bit of gray area that I want to cover. This is because I have a new student coming in and I noticed something that they were doing that I felt like needed to be corrected. And it's something that I taught in the past that I don't want people to get mixed up with. Okay, so I'm here to clarify all of that because it is in a gray area. Okay, so first of all, what is it? Um, Regardless of what martial arts style you do, okay, especially if it's in the striking arts, not the grappling arts, but the striking arts. If you do, a striking style, I think it's very important that you should practice some basic boxing, okay? It may not be your main thing, but I definitely recommend that you do it. So, you do your jab and cross and hook and, just your basic moves like that, okay? And when this person is practicing their shadow boxing, I notice that they tend to lean. Okay, so they're throwing their punches like this. So they're leaning their body forward. And this is a no-no in a lot of martial arts. Okay, a lot of times they say you should not lean. Okay, and there's for good reason, because let's think about it. If you're moving like if you're leaned forward like this, you notice that I'm not in a good balance. Okay, if I had to stand like this and someone's going to come over and they say they're going to like start pushing me all around, right? I don't want to be like this. If I know people are going to start pushing me, I want to base myself out. I want to be in a more solid base. So your base is not good. And obviously to hit hard like a catapult and not just one shot. I mean, for this one shot, this might be fine, but if you want to do the next shot and the next shot and the next shot, you want to be in a good position to where you can bam, bam, bam. You don't want to be like this, because then now you have to like recover your position, or you might do one of those. You see people all the time in street fights, they do that, and you see them like stumbling over themselves. So even from like an attack perspective, it's not good. From a defensive perspective, if you are like this, now it's like being pushed, okay? Now I'm going to take a hit. Do I want to take a hit from here, or do I want to take a hit from here, and take that hit? It's a no-brainer. If I'm taking a hit from here, I mean, I could really, really lose my balance. And as I'm trying to recover my balance, they might hit me again, so defense, it doesn't make sense either, okay? So the idea is you don't want to be leaning like this. You want to be in a solid base. You want to be well-grounded, okay? And so when you do strike, and if you can't hit the target, like you're out of range of the target, so I'm trying to hit him, and I'm out of range. So rather than leaning, and you see I'm leaning right here, imagine they grab my head right here, boom. Now, they might start throwing the Muay Thai knees. I'm more vulnerable to it because I gotta defend. I gotta fix this part right here where it's gonna make me do that. But if I was solid, I could immediately start defending and maybe put them in the Thai clinch. Okay, so once again, if I'm out of range, then the legs come in and then I hit, rather than being lazy essentially and leaning forward. Okay, so those are a lot of the reasons why it's a no-no. Now that being said, there's always exceptions, okay? There's a famous K1 fighter, Peter Arts, and the guy was K1 champ at one point, phenomenal fighter. If you look at that guy, he was known for his super long reach strikes like that. And, you might be going, well, dude, that's just like the opposite of what you've been saying right now. That guy does it, and he's very successful, a million times more successful than I'll ever be, and he does it. So what's up with that? Well, in martial arts, it's not so much that we work in extreme black and white abstract. It's more so figuring out priorities, okay? So the priority for everyone should be your basics, your fundamentals. So start with that. And when you do that, no matter what style it is, there's usually a lot of don't do this, don't do that. Make sure you always follow these rules, like for a boxer, always keep your arms up, always this, always that, that's always there, okay? So you start off that way. As you get better, you start to break the rules. Like, look at Don the Dragon Wilson. He said that he actually deliberately put his arms down to bait the guy to try to hit him in the face. So he's breaking a cardinal rule right there on purpose. And he was, you know, one of the greatest kickboxers in North America. So, I mean, you know what I mean? As you get better, okay, you're able to break the rules. In the beginning, but it's still important to know the fundamentals. So in this case, okay, the leaning part, you may be able to use that to your advantage, to lean and make that work for you. Yes, but work on the fundamentals first. Understand those thoroughly, and then start adding, you know, your own flair, your own stuff, okay? So, so please keep that in mind. Now, the problem that I have is many years ago, and I've been teaching like this for a long time, is when we're doing this, the single stick or what it could also be with double stick, but the idea here is when you're doing the angles of attack, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and people ask me about footwork. They were like, okay, so how do you do the footwork? And rather than showing people some pretty complex, elaborate stuff that they're probably not going to use, right? I thought it was better to keep it simple. And the simplest thing I thought, and thinking just practical, was this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every time I attack, I'm leaning forward, okay? So I'm basically going against what I just said right now in this video, okay? That's what I've been teaching. I still teach, I pretty much still teach this to this day. And same with defense. Defense is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So every time I'm defending as a counter strike, every time I attack, I am moving backwards, okay, as a defensive maneuver. So the idea of leaning, I said, was not good. However, the reason why I did this was because, A, I think it's very practical in long range, okay? So if this dude has a weapon, I got a weapon, we're going to spar. You watch anybody on this planet, they're probably going to do lots of leaning, lots of this, you know, lots of moves like that. Even though this is not the best way, it's not great to be, this is not the best way to defend, and this is not the best way to attack for the reasons I already explained, right? So, but it's very natural. You're going to use it. It's going to happen. So that's why I wanted to show that. In long range, like I said, it may not be the best, but you're probably going to use it quite a bit. It's very realistic, so might as well be able to use it well. And once again, it's going to happen. So just like in boxing, the block is not the best defense, but it's probably, you're going to use it. And it has a much higher percentage of doing it. And the guys that forget to do it, those are the guys that get knocked out. You know, their hands are over here trying to, because they're used to parrying, and they're trying to parry, and boom, they get knocked out. So that's where this, something more basic, not as good, but more higher percentage comes in, okay? So when you're having some trouble and they're starting to slip in some punches, you want to switch from parrying and evading, which is much better, to blocking. You got to say, hey, that stuff ain't working, so I need to go back a step, okay? So that's the idea right there. Now, the other reason why is because when you lean, right? So I'm leaning to strike the guy, but let's say it's still not enough. So I'm leaning and it's not enough. What happens? You naturally take a step forward. So that takes you to footwork. It takes you in the direction of it's like a precursor to footwork, and that's why I taught it that way. So that what I really want is for you guys to go 1, 2, 3. So you're moving and striking simultaneously. So that was the idea there. I wanted you guys to get there because once again, in long range, you can get away with leaning. You know, watch point fighting and stuff. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. Going on. It happens, okay, because it's more like a game of tag. But in medium range, you can't fight that way. a medium range, you've got to have a solid, because you might be taking a hit, and you also want to be delivering hard, you know, with good body mechanics, so you don't want to be leaning. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. Thank you for watching, and take care, folks.